Yay!
Hello. My name is Julie, and I'm very happy to be working as a postdoc in computing science. There aren't many women in computing science, only about 30%, but I try to look on the bright side. I won't hate about 70% of my colleagues. It's nothing against women, but female scientists are like superheroes. We look better than our male colleagues in spandex, but we are unhappy without an arch nemesis. I first knew I loved computing in secondary school when I created my first website, Flareon's Pokedex, a complete fan guide to Pokemon. It had a blue background with red text, and it was the coolest thing I had ever built. Rivaled only, of course, by my Sailor Moon image gallery, and my online interactive Hogwarts. It was a sad day for the internet when Angel Fire died and took those websites down with it. I do try to convince people that I'm not a complete nerd, but then someone will ask, Julie, don't you speak Elvish? Here's one to share with your colleagues tomorrow. Elliot Muvanima. It means you suck. Loosely translated. I decided to further isolate myself from mainstream society by getting a PhD in computing science. It was a success. My research looks at how people use technology in public spaces, and I'm especially interested in gesture-based interaction. Here's a good example. Everyone, hold out your right hand. Just pretend you're holding a mobile phone. Give it a shuggle. Wave it in a circle above your head. Wave it up and down. Look at you all wanking in the dark. It's not that kind of show. Rude gestures aside, I call this work performative interaction because I consider every action in a public space to be a performance of some kind. But this has made me very self-conscious of my own gestures. How often am I wanking at strangers? Am I sending odd signals to my male colleagues? I know I am, so I just do it on purpose now, in the name of science. Basically, mobile phones have gesture interaction already, but people don't seem to use it. Probably because you look like a fool if you do, right? But I'm trying to change that. Well, I work in the university. I think about changing that. Basically, I design interactions that force people to perform in public spaces. This offers the best opportunity to embarrass people. This might be a new gesture for your mobile phone, or maybe a way of interacting with a large display through touch. See, and that looked like boob grabbing. Not that I would know anything about that. That's just awkward for everyone in computing science. It's actually a fitting punishment that I should be up here after all my years of forcing users to embarrass themselves in public. It's so important to give back. I end up running a lot of user studies in my work. If you've never run a user study, basically, you bring a bunch of users around, you get them to use stuff, and then you pay them below minimum wage to beat it. It's always important to be cost efficient at the university. I'm one of these people who loves running user studies. And I'm not just saying that because my boss is in the audience. User studies are great, and they make my job much easier. I mean, I could spend a lot of time thinking about a new technology and designing how it should be used, or I could just convince users to do that for me. Give it a good buzzword, and suddenly my ability to delegate work to users is a valuable skill. They call it user-centered design. Add that to every funding proposal and I'll never be out of a job. But user studies always have problems. For example, I'm running a study now of a mobile application that tries to increase your physical activity. Glaswegians must really hate fitness because I had a user break their own leg just to get out of the study. You know, you can just say no if you don't want to participate anymore. The consent form must have been too strongly worded. Odd things often happen in user studies. I was in a focus group and I had a participant try to convince me they had a smoke alarm so sensitive they could set it off by farting. What's worse is it was actually relevant. You question your life decisions when you're avidly taking notes on someone's home fart detector. The only real problem with user studies is pretending to listen to users. It gets tiring. When you're as bad of a programmer as I am, I find that people complain a lot. They break my code. Suddenly, user studies become work. I did not go to the university to get a real job. But I'm celebrating tonight. Tomorrow is the first day of my independent fellowship. Freedom. I'm excited for this fellowship because it gives me the opportunity to embarrass users in new and more extreme ways than ever before. I could do anything. I could design new gesture-based interaction with a large display for the world's first wank-powered public interaction. Or I could just watch cat videos for 10 hours a day. The possibilities are endless. I'm hoping to pursue some multidisciplinary work during my fellowship, just so long as I don't have to actually talk to anyone from a different discipline. I've always identified with the sociological side of computing science until I met sociologists. Yeah, I'm not so sure. So I'm reaching out to the electrical engineers, see if I get on any better with these freaks. But to be fair, we're all freaks. We work at the university. We could have been web developers with a schwanky loft in San Francisco, but we chose to dedicate our lives to research instead. Well, if this whole fellowship thing doesn't work out, at least I've got a portfolio with 3 awesome websites. Thank you.